to the LFG Pats Pod with your hosts, Joe and Mike. Let's go!
All right, welcome into the LFG Pats Pod. This is episode 22. And deuces. So Mike and I, we wanted to do a quick impromptu video. We're realizing that a lot of people are down right now. High hopes for the first game. Mike and I have some varying degrees of thoughts on this, so we'll share it with you. It's going to be a quick 20-minute episode, so we're not going to skip right over sponsors. We're going to go right into the game. We have another podcast this coming Wednesday with Fitzy, and we have a Dolphins podcaster on as well. So that should be a lot of fun. Yeah, we got two losing teams, 0-1 teams in the AFC East. Mike and I were really pulling for the Bills to lose, so we'd all be losers in the AFC East, but that didn't happen. I went to bed thinking it would, and, it just didn't.
That game was incredibly entertaining, though. I have to admit it. I hate the way that it ended, but boy, what an opening week. What an opening Sunday night game for week one. That was fantastic. In far contrast to the dumpster fire that we witnessed with our own team, but we'll get into all that in about a minute.
That could be an AFC Championship preview.
Okay, Joe. Come on, buddy. Come on. I know you got your glasses on, but come on, buddy. Let's go.
No. I'm saying the Bills and Ravens. What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you meant the Bills and the Patriots.
No, I'm talking about the Bills and the Ravens.
If all goes well, that would be ideal for me because it means the Chiefs aren't in it. So
there you go.
Let's hope that stands true. But we're not here to talk about those guys. We're here to talk about our team. And Joe's got some silver linings, and I do not. So
all right, Mike, Joe, let's get right into it. What do you think? Give us your thoughts.
Look, we don't know what we have until we see what we have. We can do all the speculating in the off season and how good things look. And if it doesn't look good, well, they'll get it together. They're still working. They're still learning. So, and Vrabel, we have such high hopes for Vrabel, and you don't know. I mean, you've seen him coach in Tennessee, but you don't know how he's going to be coaching this iteration of this current team. And now we know several things that we didn't know before week one because the actual bullets flying, quote unquote, for real. And they were actually trying in earnest to win the game. So they weren't working on stuff. They were just working on trying to execute plays. And this game was highly, highly disappointing on many different levels. It would take a full hour to do the whole thing, and we'll touch on a little bit on our show on Wednesday, but for now we'll get most of it out of the way. From my perspective right here, my standpoint, what lost us the game was quarterback play and coaching. Those are the things that lost this game for us. All right, Drake May, I don't know what his problem is. He needs to settle the F down. Like he can't, like I was telling you, I feel like he's afraid that his ball's going to get batted down at the line of scrimmage. So he tries to throw it over guys' outstretched hands.
For sure.
And then he's sailing them way, 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 way up. And he's told me, personally, he's been telling people that he's watched film of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's number one rule was get low. He would try to get it as low as possible to Jules so he could just scoop it and then get on the ground and pick up that 8 or 10 yards, whatever it was. Like he would get mad at Edelman if he tried to run after the catch.
And Brady rarely threw off kilter as much as Drake May does. I don't know what it is with that fadeaway kind of off the back foot kind of nonsense he does, but that's definitely it's a concern of mine as well.
There's a whole suitcase to unpack as far as that goes. And there's so many different angles I could put it on, but the one thing that I'm going to say right here, and I'm going to stick by it, is that they should have kept Alex Van Pelt as the quarterback coach, because I know how terrible he was at play calling, but he fixed Drake May's footwork, and Drake got consistently better throughout the season as it progressed. And I saw a regression on fundamentals on Sunday. The footwork wasn't there. The arm placement wasn't there. The read progression wasn't there. Now we have this Ashton Davis or whatever this kid is that's the quarterback coach. They're clearly falling falling off on the fundamentals. I feel like because McDaniel's offense is so complex, he's had to spend all of his time just learning this very complex system and has forgotten about the fundamentals. And we saw it several times. He would drop his eyes after the first read. And it's like, dude, are you serious, man? Like, as soon as the first read didn't uncover for him, then he was out. He was bailing out and trying to make something.
It also, he seemed like he was playing with almost, I don't want to say kid gloves, but it almost seemed like they told him to go high percentage. Obviously, he did a good job of protecting the ball outside of the interception. He didn't fumble the ball.
He fumbled. You just didn't lose it.
Oh, right. Sorry, he didn't lose the fumble. Correct. Yeah, Will Campbell picked it up. But what I saw was someone that was kind of playing seemingly afraid or overwhelmed for sure. And he had the time. He had the time, right? I think the offensive line cannot be blamed. Granted, the craziness of Garrett Bradbury having a great game and
zero pressures,
and both Wilson and Moses being complete train wrecks was not in the cards, was not something we were anticipating at all, which goes to show that, we know what we know, but we also know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
It's, he was under duress a lot. Don't get me wrong, but
not as much as last year, not nearly as much as last year.
He had a bunch of sequences where he was getting solid protection and he couldn't go through his reads and he would panic and bail out of the pocket. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Just lean on your fundamentals and go through your progression and do what you got to do what you've been coached to do. And he didn't really do that. I think after that interception, he put kid gloves on himself after that, because he got very conservative after that pick. And it's like, dude, if you're going to be a gunslinger, sling it. You know what I mean? You can't let that. You got to have the Brett Favre mentality if you're going to do that. Now, that was a terrible decision by him, a terrible read, but you can't let it affect you moving forward. You have to still go out there and put yourself on the line. And I really don't think he did that, especially after that interception. The first half, there was many missed opportunities, but the second half was nothing but a litany of missed opportunities.
Yeah.
This team, they deserve to lose this game. I'm not very happy with May. I'm not happy with the defense about giving up 9 plays of at least 20 yards or more. If our team made 9 plays of 20 yards or more, we'd be jumping over the moon right now. We got gashed, absolutely gashed. And that's one of the coaching points that I'm going to put. Terrell Williams did an awful job. Did
not adjust in the second half at all. Actually got worse in the second half. Correct.
Hated it. He stuck to his guns and he got burned. Now, look, in the first half, we had a couple blitzes that were actually very effective. But guess what good teams do at halftime? The coaching staff gets together and they make adjustments. The Raiders made adjustments. So they were picking up our blitzes in the second half, and Geno started torching us because they knew what we were going to do. And we didn't counter punch to we punched, they counter punch, and we didn't have another move after that. We kept doing the same thing. The 3rd and 20, when we had an all-out blitz,
the Carlton Davis, he bit. Carlton Davis bit.
He bit hard on a nonsense fake. The guy did that. That's like he did nothing. Yeah. And they sent an all-out blitz on 3rd and 20. Why would you do that?
Just keep the ball in front of you. Keep it in front of you.
Just stay in prevent. Make sure they don't.
We were all screaming at that. Mike, let's talk about the run game. I think the run game to me was kind of a head scratcher. Now, we all knew we were going to get a lot of Mondre, right? We knew that game 1, we're going to see Mondre. But why do we see him in the pass game? Why? I don't understand that. He's not even Antonio Gibson was way more prolific than he was last year in the pass game. And then you got Trevion. Why are we giving Trevion in between the tackles runs? Like, The whole thing with the run game was an anomaly to me. I didn't get it. I didn't get the game plan.
It looks like McDaniels doesn't quite know exactly how to utilize these particular guys in their specific roles yet. Now, I don't think Ramondre is as terrible as a passing back as you and everybody else seems to think. Like, he did have a role with that. Like, he was our leading receiver a couple of years ago. Granted, our offense was absolute trash, but he still had like 67 catches or something like that. So I don't have so much of a problem with that as I do with Vrabel just flat out saying, why did you only run the ball 3 times in the second half? And he was like, well, it was obviously wasn't working for us.
And
so.
Abandoning it. Yeah.
Don't abandon it. You don't abandon it. You have to keep going.
5 snaps. Did he get a carry? Did Antonio Gibson get 1 carry?
I don't believe so.
He got 5 snaps. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's like, anyways.
Yeah, he had a nice kickoff return. I mean, he's still on special teams, but I think that's gonna be like a season-long progression about how they work out that rotation in the running back room.
Of course. We kind of knew that going into it. It just felt like a combination of that plus completely abandoning it and becoming one-dimensional in the second half, which to a degree, we locked up Gene T, which is one of my silver linings. We locked up Gene T pretty well, and that was actually my biggest concern in coming into it. Now, my biggest concern was also based on us having Gonzo, so that was a surprise that we weren't going to have him. Granted, he's been out for a month, but still, it's like, yeah, I would have never thought we would have locked up Gene T and then get gashed in our secondary, which Alex Austin played a great game. Hawkins obviously got beat. I don't know.
They're playing too much man with blitz. If you play man with blitz, then it's literally cover 0, which means that's why Jalen Hawkins got burnt on that first touchdown.
Right. Yeah, he's one-on-one.
Yeah, he was responsible for the slot guy. You want at least one center fielder back there, man. You don't blitz 0 on that in that particular situation.
With two burners. Yeah, no.
And everybody today is complaining about how bad our safety play is, and we let go of Jabril Peppers and Marcus Epps, and Marcus Epps got elevated for the Eagles, so he's like starting for the Eagles now. And Jabril Peppers, he still would have been better in certain situations. Like, I can't say anything that bad about Craig Woodson, but I can't say, did he do anything that stood out to you?
He did have I think an 80+%, 80+ grade in PFF run
is that right?
Well. So yeah, I think he was serviceable. I think you're right. Jabril could have made some plays. Would that be the answer? Would we still have gotten gashed, for that many 20+ yard plays? Probably.
Yeah, so who knows? But I have one more gripe, and then I'm going to kick it. We're doing a short episode, so we're running out of time.
Yes.
And then I'm going to kick it to Joe for his silver linings. I have a gripe with Mike Vrabel's coaching down the stretch. A huge gripe with the game management and situational football in particular. When that clock was tick, 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 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, and you refused to call a timeout, we lost about an extra 3 minutes we could have gotten back. Because if we had made a stop and call a timeout, call a timeout, and then maybe on third down, don't call a timeout if they don't convert, you bought yourself an extra 2 minutes. He didn't do that. And then he went for the 4th and 5. Oh, nope. Now I'm going to get 4th and 10. I'm going to punt it. Bro, you're like basically saying you're depending on an onside kick to dictate the outcome of this game. That's not the way to coach. You don't need to coach if we could just have an opportunity for an onside kick, we'll be in good shape. Who has ever said that ever? The conversion rate is 2% for crying out loud. So he wasted a bunch of time, and that whole thing punting there and then going kicking the field goal on third down to make it 20-13. And they were in the red zone, okay? So if it's third down, why can't you take one shot at the end zone to see if something sticks? Right. It would have taken 4 seconds off the clock. You've already wasted a bunch of clock. What's that 4 seconds really mean to you based on what you just did? Take one extra shot. He didn't do it. He kicked the field goal, therefore even further relying on an onside kick and a touchdown and an extra point after that. It's just not a good way to coach football. I'm chalking it up to growing pains of him being under pressure in a new position, a very high profile job. And I really think Mike Vrabel crapped his pants. I've been the biggest Vrabel supporter. You know that. All I
Oh, of
do is talk
course.
about how I've known this guy his whole entire career, player and coach. I sing his praises constantly, but you didn't know exactly how he was going to be situationally. I think he failed. I give him a D on coaching. And that's my main gripe about the whole thing. I feel like better coaching could have won us that game. I swear to God. I really do. A couple plays here, a couple plays there. I think it
I'm
might have
with
been a
you,
different
Mike.
outcome.
I'm,
I mean,
I'm with you.
we gave up 20 points. If we only give up 20 points, we should be winning games. Bottom
100%.
line. Bottom
100%.
line.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the lack of deep shots downfield, you can put that on McDaniels all day long. The fact that we don't dial up Kyle Williams, he's done it. If you watch his tape in the preseason, he smokes people. Granted, he's playing against second and third stringers, but that's what he did in college too. That's what you drafted the kid for. The fact that we didn't take one deep shot on Kyle Williams is absolutely a disservice to everything we did at the draft. Like, we drafted a tackle, we drafted all these, we made all these key moves in the offseason to one, shore up our offensive line, which to me, it's an improvement, hands down. It's an improvement over last year. Where it sits as at middle of the pack, who cares? He had time. That was not the reason we lost the game. So that's my one silver lining is our offensive line is not as bad as we thought it was. Granted, we thought Garrett Bradbury would be the problem, but he's not. We saw the electric nature of Trevion against first stringers, which to me, that just screams, like you said, his workload will go up. I think Antonio Gibson earns more workload too. I don't see how we can't. Going from like basically no carries. And I think our defense, to me, with the run defense against Ginty is a huge, huge win. Granted, the Raiders aren't world beaters on the offensive line. We know that. But if you say, what does this game look like with Christian Gonzalez? Are we getting 9 20-plus yard plays? I don't think so. I think that game's a lot closer. If not, we win. And so to me, granted, it's an excuse, right? We don't have our top corner. But how many NFL teams don't have their top corner and still win games like that aren't like, the Eagles or somebody, right?
It's not easy. We learned why Carlton Davis is best served as a 2. Let's put it
Yes.
that way.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So to me, those are two big silver linings. Now, obviously, Drake May and his progression is going to be closely watched this whole year. I don't think anyone can say, oh, and I'm seeing it, Drake May is not the guy. Drake maybe I saw Drake maybe. I'm like, oh, good Lord. People, we have to just simmer down. We gotta get through the season. We got to get through at least the first half of the season to kind of issue any of these kind of statements.
It
I
comes with
do.
the territory, man. If you're going to
It
be an
is.
NFL quarterback, expect that pressure. So he needs to step up.
Yep. Doesn't matter what age you are. Bo Nix, everybody. Bo Nix just shit his pants against a defense that, in my mind, it's a good defense, but is it the best defense in the league? No.
Yeah, but the point is they won that game because they have a better roster and they're better coached.
Like I said this on X, they're 2 years beyond us in their rebuild.
Oh
They're
yeah.
already kind of way ahead of us in their rebuild, which is why they can do that. They can have a poor game from the quarterback position and still win games. So that's kind of all I got, Mike. I mean, we got the Dolphins this week. If we make Tua look like Dan Marino, I might be throwing up on the next podcast.
Well, especially based on what happened to them this past week, and that team looks like a rudderless ship, but that's not really the purpose of this episode right here. This is why we did an extra episode to get our gripes out of the way now, because when we get it back on Wednesday and we get the Dolphins guy in and we got Fitzy in, we're going to be all Dolphins the whole entire time. I'm not going to want to spend a whole lot of time looking back because it was a dumpster fire. There are correctable things. I think they will be better. I really do. As far as what they're going to do next week, we're going to have to wait till Wednesday to see how we prognosticate that. But overall, disappointing, but things to build on. I'll go ahead and give you that.
We're building, boy. It's going to be a season of building. Let's tell you that. I mean, let's we have an easy schedule, which is good, but let's keep our expectations where they should be. I think we could have a great season, but I think great is relative, right? What's relative to great? To me, it stays the same, right? I still think we can be a 10-win team. It just matters how do we progress? How does Vrabel and McDaniels, how do we get the most that we can out of this team?
Hey,
Knowing
I think Savage said it, posted it. He was like, "Remember when we beat the Bengals in Week 1 last year, and everybody thought the Bengals were washed, and we were what's next? And then what happened? The Bengals ended up being the Bengals, and we ended up being us.
this is the
So
NFL, man. It's a fickle
yeah,
bitch. That's
yeah,
all I gotta say. It's very fickle.
any given Sunday.
That's it. So keep your heads up, boys. We got a lot of football left, and stay tuned for Wednesday. We're gonna have a great show.
And LFG, baby.
LFG, as always, boys.
We still have faith. Let's go get it, boys. Let's get
Keep
it.
the faith.
Indeed.